Reality. Reality receipts.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Reality Receipts podcast starring me, Storytime with Ricky.
And me, Reality Ashley, and we just watched the Love is Blind Season 9 reunion. We could not wait to hop on here and share all of our thoughts. We said no talking about it to each other. We want to hear everything for the first time here with you guys because we always have a lot to say to each other. But sometimes we start talking and it's like half an hour goes by and we're like, wait, we got to start recording. So we didn't do that this time. We're saving it all for the pod. So what are your initial thoughts, like overall?
Initial thoughts. First initial thought was it could have been an email.
Yeah.
Could have been an email, but also, and then a second initial thought was a lot of like these jaw-dropping moments we already knew. So sucks for you guys that we spoiled your reunion. But also they spoiled their own reunion because a lot of what the cast said in the interviews that they were doing, we were all like, why are they doing so many interviews? Was reiterated at the reunion as if it was some mic drop. So again, maybe it would have held more weight if they didn't have these interviews. But I feel like, I mean, we didn't get any like brand new information, right? Like,
no, definitely no brand new information. A couple little things, but I do wonder, these interviews, what like Madison did and a few other people where they said some of these main points already. I wonder if those interviews happened after the reunion and they were just so worried about it all leaking that they thought, well, we'll just let them start talking in interviews now. Or maybe they were just so worried that no one was going to be interested in the reunion. They thought they had to like stir up this drama, which I do think does work, right? Like I know a lot of people say like the baby news coming out spoils it, but does it also get people interested too, right? Like, okay, I heard she has a baby. Now I need to go see this reunion and see if it's true, right? Like I
yeah.
almost wonder if spoilers help in a way because they kind of make you want to watch to confirm or deny what you've heard, right? If there was no tea and no spoilers out, you kind of don't even know what you're watching for, right? And
Yeah.
it is nice to be surprised, but I think the buzz isn't there if you don't have these
No,
spoilers
I
out.
100% think spoilers and tea keep the viewer interested. Are they going to ask about this? Are they going to bring this up? You know what I mean? So I think it definitely helps. I think as much as Netflix be like, oh my God, you spoilers, I think they love it because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, keeping their name and like keeping the brand name in people's mouths and keeping it going on social media, keeping people talking is it's good for them.
Yeah.
So I think it definitely keeps people talking. I think I think first of all, I think the main thing that I noticed is the Lachey should have started the show off with saying, like, obviously, you guys made Love is Blind history. There were no weddings this season. They didn't even
Mhm.
mention that there were no weddings this season, which is like a massive topic of discussion this season.
Yeah.
This is a first for
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
franchise. And it's like to not even mention it was very bizarre.
They just probably don't wanna highlight that because as much as I think someone has given an interview from productions and said, like, it doesn't mean anything and the process still works and they're not worried about it, and breakups are, like, an important part of this process too. I think obviously they are probably a bit worried that people will lose a little bit of interest. I don't think they will though in the show itself. I think people still watch. Like we said, people might lose a little bit of interest in following the people and feeling like they're genuine. There's less people to find like that now on the show.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
I don't know if the no marriages affects the show as a whole. Do you think like people won't watch now?
I think people say that they're not going to watch every season, and
Yes.
they watch.
Yeah, they do.
I have it in my comments everywhere. I'm not watching next season. I stopped watching, but I watch your recaps. I don't
Yeah.
think Netflix is worried about it. Like we said, like we already know 2 more seasons have filmed, and we know there is one wedding. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
don't think that they're that worried about it, honestly, because
No.
they know that they have 2 seasons filmed and they know that there are some weddings coming out of it. So I don't
Yeah.
think they're too worried about it. I honestly, I think that this was something different that we needed to see. Like, I think in the foreign franchises, we see the marriages and then we see some divorces by the reunion and we're like all
Yeah.
shocked by that. Or I think we saw nobody stayed married, and so it was like,
Yeah.
that was really shocking. So I think that I honestly think that it was a good switch up for the season. Like, I don't think that people are gonna stop watching, but what I do think will happen is that people will stop watching if there are no weddings at all.
Mhm.
This
Yeah.
season, we only got 2 by the skin of our teeth because we all knew KB and Edmund were probably they begged and pleaded for them to go to that altar, but I do think the weddings are an important part, and I don't know how to
Mhm.
incorporate that back in without, like, forcing somebody to stay, you know?
I know. Yeah, it is hard because I don't want them to be forced to stay, especially in some of these situations. But I do think if everybody had to go to the altar, it takes away that pressure of like people will get yelled at. Like, why would you take them all that way if you knew you weren't going to say yes or say no? It's like, well, that's part of the experiment. I think KB even said that here. Like, I didn't know you could just leave. I mean, if she must have known because they all talk to each other, but I think she kind of thought everyone was under the same impression that, like, you're really supposed to go to the altar, like, unless there's, like,
Sure.
a big circumstance that prevents you from doing so, not just, "I don't wanna marry this person." So,
Yeah.
I wish there was a way they could convince them all to go to the altar, but it
Yeah.
already feels fake, so I don't know how bad that would be to watch, so
I mean, I don't know. I think there has to be a way because if when people go to the altar and say no, people get mad, and then when people go break up and then there's no altars, then people get mad. So it's like
mhm.
really you can't win. But I do think that that altar moment, who's going to say no? What are they going to say? What are their reasons? Are a big part of why people really like the show. So they need to find a way to bring that back, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Well, the reunion opened up with the musical performance, which, okay, I appreciate that they put it at the start. I still felt like it was unnecessary. Like, why are they doing this? Like the intro with the introducing each person, not necessary, right? Is it just a treat
I
for the people stuck watching it live or just something
I
to get
think
people talking?
Yeah, I think it's more so for the people watching it live. I'm sure they're there. It's taping for hours. They're fucking bored. I think they didn't want to take up time putting it in its own segment where nothing's happening. So they're like,
Hmm.
okay, well, maybe when we'll do intros with it. But we just don't want it at all. They just don't,
No.
right? Like, just have him like singing on the side when you guys are like, "Bye, everybody." You know what I mean? Like, have that happen. But
Yeah.
the musical performance, Chris Paul playing basketball, we had actually got some tea to our DM telling us that was going to happen, and it seemed so
Mm.
out of the off the wall that we're like,
Yeah. Yeah, you heard that they were gonna play basketball over this damn engagement ring. We were like, "Really?" Like, they wouldn't waste our time with that, but they did.
it fell off the wall. Like, when they were like, Casey's gonna give the ring back, and Chris Paul is gonna be there. They're gonna shoot some hoops for the ring, and Patrick's gonna give it back. And I was like, I mean, that would be wild to make up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was like, "Ugh." And look at that, it happened. So I think there were obviously a lot of moments that, we could have spent asking more questions. I feel like we didn't
Mm,
even ask about Allie and Anton's major, issue, which was his drinking. They didn't even ask
mhm.
about that. We didn't
No,
even
they
talk
didn't
about they didn't,
they
right?
no, they didn't bring up anyone's drinking, which has been a huge topic of conversation, and my guess is that's because they don't have a drink limit on this show, which they do on a lot of shows because they've run into issues with people drinking and liability issues. So I think that's why they didn't bring it up because, I mean, how can you limit someone's drinking though when they're filming? It's not like they're at a resort, like a Bachelor in Paradise type thing. When they go home, they're in these little condos. I guess you could limit what they drink, but they're not being
Yeah.
like filmed 24/7. So I understand why they don't have a drink limit, but I'm sure they just didn't want to draw attention to the fact that they did have a lot of drinking on this
Yeah.
season and that it's not a great look. But everyone is responsible for their own drinking. Like they're all adults, but
Yeah.
it can get risky. Like some of the behavior could get over a certain line. So I don't know. They might need a little drink limit at least on the honeymoon, you know?
Yeah, Love Island does it. Love Island
Yeah.
has a drink limit. They give them that little bit of wine because, I think for that specific reason, they don't want them getting too crazy. They don't want them getting too loose. They don't want
Mhm.
things. I mean, they're recorded 24/7. So I think a drink limit is not the worst idea, but maybe you're right. They didn't want to bring attention to it, but that's kind of bizarre considering that was Allie and Anton's like main storyline. But we'll
Mhm.
get to them.
If I haven't told you lately, thank you again for introducing me to HelloFresh. It has literally changed my life. I no longer have to think about what am I going to make for dinner. All the ingredients and recipes come directly to my door, and 3 out of 4 parents say that their kids eat more veggies with HelloFresh, and I can totally attest to that. My kids are absolutely loving the family-friendly recipes.
I told you their menu is so big. It's literally doubled in size since I started using them. There's so many options to choose from. And the healthy meal options, if you're trying to get summertime fine in the winter, HelloFresh has got you covered and the meals are delicious.
My favorite meals lately are coming from their new Global Street Eats kitchen, which features local favorites from around the world. Have you tried anything off of that menu yet?
Oh my God. The fried beef empanadas are literally my favorite. If you guys have been following us on socials, then you know we've been posting our HelloFresh meals. If you've tried anything, let us know. They've honestly been so fun to make and delicious.
The best way to cook just got better. Go to HelloFresh.com/RR10FM now to get 10 free meals plus a free breakfast for life. One per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That's HelloFresh.com/RR10FM to get 10 free meals plus free breakfast for life. Well,
Yeah.
the first thing was Megan's big surprise announcement, which we already knew about. I don't
Yeah.
did we talk about it first and then the US Sun the pictures came out like just hours after we posted our podcast. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that was something that maybe Megan and production had already organized just to get buzz going for the reunion. But
Sure.
we put out that we had heard it. We didn't have any proof in terms of like photos of a baby or anything like that. And then the next day the photos came out, which again, the paparazzi photos didn't have her like holding a baby. And so that's why I feel like she did give them the info because they wouldn't print it if they didn't have a source. And they had a lot of information. They said it was a newborn baby, which you couldn't really tell from the photo. I
Yeah.
thought like it was like 4 months old, and she says it's 2.5. So, or I guess
Yeah.
it's probably like 3 now. So yeah, it's sort of like it was a random guy outside of her house holding a baby. So unless Megan herself or someone involved gave the Sun the information, it would be a lot of dots for them to connect to go to print with that, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, she fed them that story. And the thing is, we
Yeah.
were trying to give her the courtesy of like, we know that somebody's going to announce having a baby, but we're not going to ruin someone's baby announcement, so we're going to let her do that. And then yeah, then the Sun basically said, "Yeah, it's Megan and it's this guy who was outside of her house and the neighbors say he lived there." So they ended up ruining the baby announcement and announced it before her. So I don't think she's too disappointed in it because like I said, I think she fed them the story. They've been following Megan around all week trying to catch her with this baby. They done caught her in a fender bender. They done caught her they're
Good.
grocery shopping, going to get her nails done. And I'm sorry, like the Sun is not just following around a random Love is Blind contestant. So it's definitely giving she's calling the paparazzi on herself. But
Mhm.
yeah, our baby T was right. Um she announced her relationship. She announced her baby boy. She showed us her baby daddy, which we also knew we weren't going to dox him and give you guys his name, but we were
Mhm.
right. We found the right we found the right man.
Finally, the right bald man, because there were a lot of bald men connected to her. But
Yes.
she didn't necessarily say, did she say, like, she said there's been a lot of ups and downs and we're happy. But do you think they're like in a solid relationship? Obviously, they have only been together just over a year. She said she got pregnant 3 months into their relationship, which we're a little sus on this timeline, right? Because there's a photo of him on Megan's sister's page at her nephew's birthday, is it?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, and that was in July. So
Yeah.
Megan said on the reunion she met him in July and he was already at her nephew's birthday in July. So
Yeah.
maybe they just like madly fell in love on their first date, but he was already around her family. So
Unless I don't know, unless she met him at that birthday party. Like I
yeah.
don't know. Maybe she met him at the birthday party. It does seem like homegirl was moving quick. Like after her Jordan breakup, she went on a few dates with Mike. She met up with
Shocking.
Nick and found a man and got pregnant. Like hello, go ahead, girl. I guess like
She's
but
she gets
moves
down to it.
gets down to it quick. I need to take some notes out of her book. Obviously, the Mike tea was very shocking to know that they went on a few dates because we have heard that, Mike is also in a serious relationship and has been for a while. There are rumors swirling that, this girlfriend was around since before filming, since after filming. So it is shocking to hear. I am curious to see how she feels about that,
Yeah.
knowing that he
I
went on
mean,
because I think they were definitely involved at that point. So, I mean, according
we
to people who know them, yeah, that they were maybe not in an official a relationship, but involved to some capacity.
yeah, well, we did hear on the show he likes to have that girl over for hot tubs too. So I think that's just how he is, maybe, right? Maybe he went on these dates with Megan and his girlfriend is just finding out now. So I think
Yeah.
she probably found out a lot on this show, but maybe they weren't in a
Or maybe she's complicit,
exclusive. Yeah.
so that's a thing too. We've seen it happen with Trevor and past contestants and, you
Yeah,
know,
it is interesting that she went on dates with Mike. She met up with Blake and she met this guy too. Like yeah, just
she said, "My clock is ticking. I got to get moving. There's nothing wrong with the roster, honey."
no, nothing. I'm impressed actually. This whole reunion made me feel like, why are they not filming these people once they leave the pods? Because the drama, the tea at this damn pool party, which Avery spoke about on our podcast. When we asked her to come on our podcast, we just thought she's been with Joe for a year. She'll have some insight into him and whatever's going on over there. We never realized that she was going to be such a part of the storyline and the Casey of it all, and be
Yeah.
like at these parties. So yeah, if you guys haven't watched, we did an interview with Avery like a week or two ago, and that's
Cool.
Joe's girlfriend. So she gave us all the tea on Casey, Madison, the pool parties. So go check it out because we didn't know it was
Yeah.
gonna be so relevant, and
We
now it is.
didn't know that
So
it was actually gonna be on the reunion. They were saying her name, talking about this pool party. I'm wondering if this is the same pool party that, Avery was mentioning on our pod. It seemed like they had a lot of pool parties. I know
yeah,
Mike actually hosted one at one of his Airbnb properties to promote them. So I don't know what pool party, but it seems like they have a lot of pool parties in Denver. It
yeah.
seemed like Casey was maybe confused. I don't know. There was a lot. A lot came at Miss Casey during this reunion. We'll
Mhm.
get to it. But yes, Megan. They started with Megan, and then Casey was next in that.
Yeah. What
What?
did you think of Jordan? Like Jordan, at first I thought that was sweet when he said Megan would be a great mom, but then he knew the tea already, so obviously he's gonna say that. I would have liked to know his thoughts if he didn't know what was up with Megan, but I think that's a lot to ask. They obviously know everything going on with each other. Megan said only Casey knew about the baby. Like, do you think that is possible? Like that Casey wouldn't have repeated it because
I don't know. I mean, she obviously didn't repeat it for this a long amount of time because I think if Casey did repeat it, I think it would have gotten back to like us, like
yeah,
very way sooner. But Jordan had said something interesting about some disgusting person, like kind of sliding in his DM and like I guess maybe threatening him or basically saying, "I'm gonna spill this tea, I'm gonna stir the pot," was the words that he used.
mm,
Maybe threatening that, and that's how we found out about Megan's baby. So Megan didn't like voluntarily tell him. Somebody
no.
basically came to him with the news, and that's how we found out. Is what
Well,
I is that?
I feel like whoever DM'd you about it is probably maybe not the same person, but that's kind of what I thought because we also did see it on Reddit and it was in a few comment sections. So I think
Yeah.
people knew. There was just nobody there was no proof. So no one had really made like a video about it until you did. But I
Mhm.
think it could have been the same person. But the
Yeah.
way he said disgusting was interesting because I would just think like you were engaged to this woman, she left you because you have a child, not in so many words, but basically one of the main reasons. And
Uh-huh.
I'm sure someone telling you, so she has a baby now, I don't know if I would necessarily call that disgusting. Like they might thought he wanted to know. Like that's kind of a
Yeah.
important thing to know. So I didn't know why he seemed like, yeah, angry at this person or like they had bad intentions. So and he seemed to really not like Casey at this reunion. So
Yeah, that I mean, a lot of people seem to really not like Casey
yeah,
at the reunion. Well, I mean, which is fair, but because Casey is a little, she's like Patrick literally had
hard
to
to like.
double. Yeah, she's hard to like, and I don't think it did Allie any favors. The fact that it's clear that Allie and Megan are close to Casey, more so Allie. It was very obvious that they were very good friends during this reunion, and it's just like that ain't gonna do either one of them any favors. But yeah,
No.
I don't know. I guess we don't know the context of what the message was to Jordan. If
Yeah.
it was like maybe trying to blackmail him or trying to, extort him in some way. But
I don't
all
think
I
so.
know is the message that I got about the baby was like, I would assume that if this person had known for a while, that I would have gotten the information a lot sooner because it was like obviously way after the reunion even filmed. It was like
Mhm.
very a week before, you know,
Oh,
last
if it
week.
was after the reunion film, then I guess it could have been someone at the reunion because all of those people at the reunion knew too then. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's probably where it was coming from a little bit, like online. There was some comments and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
yeah, maybe he'll give more context if he does some interviews, which I'm sure he will. They all do this week usually. So
Yeah.
yeah, I want to know
Yeah,
what
he
they
didn't have
said.
much to say. I feel like Jordan didn't have much to say at the reunion.
He was very kept it cute, not messy at all. Him and Megan are on good terms. So I think obviously everyone has felt like Jordan was the most genuine this season. This reunion proved that he nothing bad to say about him, and he had nothing bad to say about anyone except Casey. Yeah, he seemed to not like her, but that's
Yeah.
valid, I think. So
Yeah, he seemed to be like very like laughy, giggly. He blamed it on his ADHD. I was very confused. Like they brought in Casey, Kate, and Patrick, but no Mike, no Anna.
Mhm.
Blake was there, but they didn't bring him out. So again, it poses that question of why Blake and Anna got so much airtime, why they did. They went on the Viall file. I mean, Blake went on the Viall files. Like, you know what I mean? Did all of these major podcasts just to like not.
yeah. Yeah, they brought Blake out at the end, and I'm like, "Why? What is happening with Blake? Somebody are they pranking us? Like, someone tell us what's going
Maybe he's
on."
gonna be on Perfect Match. I don't know, but it was very
Maybe.
bizarre why Mike, Anna, Blake got so much airtime, but wasn't at the reunion. Kate actually got more airtime on this reunion than she ever did on
Yeah.
the season. So it
Mhm,
it was bizarre. So then we get into the Casey and Patrick of it all, which was obviously like
mhm.
a very weird storyline, still a very weird storyline. Both of them have done multiple interviews kind of reiterating what they said on this reunion. I don't know what the hell Casey's talking about. She wanted to protect him. She still You wanted to protect him, but you said on camera that
Yeah.
you weren't attracted to him. Like she's still coming at it from a very defensive place,
Mhm.
and she's still I mean, I do think that Patrick was trying to do her a solid by like, "Bitch, basically just shut the fuck up and say you're sorry, and, like, people
Yeah.
will forgive you for that." Like, just
Yeah.
and then she, like, didn't wanna say it. She's like,
No. I
"Yeah,
do think I don't know. I kind of think Patrick is annoying a bit too. The way, like, she said that he was making these TikToks, right? And calling her the side chick. And I totally get it. He's trying to get it on the views like everyone else and make funny TikToks. But then on one hand, he's making funny TikToks and laughing about it. And on the other hand, he's trying to be like, poor me. So I think she is definitely the one in the wrong here. But I also find him annoying about the whole situation too.
for sure." Yeah,
So,
because you can't say, "Oh, I care about the online hate that you're getting," but, like, you're contributing to it, and I'm glad she called him out on it, but it's like, he is contributing because he's poking the
yeah.
bear, and
Hmm.
he's like, "I deleted it." It's like, "No, you kinda deleted it because the comments weren't on your side," like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? But I think Casey did, even in this situation, go about it the wrong way because you're still
Hmm.
trying to act like we didn't hear you say what you said to production, which was like, "The physical attraction's not gonna grow, and you're not interested in getting to know him." I mean, and I don't know, based on the story, it seemed to match. Like Casey reached out to him and he wanted to have a conversation right away. She didn't. I mean, it seemed like he wanted to have a conversation more so because they were going to meet up with the cast and the cast was going to be asking them what's going on. And she's like, I don't really care about what the cast has to say. Like, I just want to
Mhm.
regulate my emotions. And he was like, well, fine. If you don't want to talk about it, then we don't have to talk about it and bye. You know?
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
maybe she's, like, riding that coattail, right? Of, like, I was gonna talk to him, and I was interested in dating him, but it's like, that might have worked if you didn't tell the camera that you had no interest.
Yeah. I know, she just needs to own it at this point, like, a lot of the
Yeah.
other people were really good at doing on this reunion, like Nick, and she just needs to say, like, "Yes, I'm sorry, like, you are attractive to so many people, lots of people are in your comments and DMs, I'm sure, but you're just not my type," or, like, "I couldn't see it physically, and I should have been a bigger person and maybe tried, but I didn't wanna do that to you, and I'm sorry, and I should have been honest," and that's it, and just leave it at that, like,
Yeah.
don't keep trying to act like, "Oh, I did wanna date you," like, you know you didn't, so
Yeah, yeah, and I don't know why she thought this, like, ex-wifey statement that he made was such, like, a mic drop moment, right? She's like, "Tell them what you said, like, tell them what you said," and he's like, I said ex-wifey, like, I don't know why she thinks, like, that's, like, such a mic drop
Yeah,
moment, like, it's not, like, obviously, that's a joke, and that's
yeah,
funny, like, you
maybe
just
that's
dumped
what
him. He's trying to make light of it.
maybe that's what it is, like, he's joking, but then also trying to act, like, very hurt. I think they both just need to be more honest, right? He needs to be
Yeah.
more like, "Yeah, Anna was my number 1, she left, so you were my second choice, but I still wanted to try and make it work," and she could say the same, like, I saw you, I wanted to try, I just couldn't do it." They both like, it's no loss, really. I don't think he was, like, madly in love with her either, so I
Yeah,
think they
yeah,
both
mm,
yeah. I did agree with Allie when she said, like, "It's Netflix's Ring, why is this even a conversation?" I think if they don't get married, the Ring should just go back to production like on The Bachelor, and this would solve all these stupid problems, right?
yeah, and I get it, though, it's for the principle, right? Like, if you're not going to accept the engagement, if you're gonna break off the engagement, usually you give the ring back, it's out of principle, even though it's not his ring. If
Yeah.
he's asking for it back and it's important to him, or even if it's just to make a statement, we've seen Marshall do the same thing. I think it's always like you're just kind of like your ego's a little bruised, so you just be like, no, like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, just like we see, like, she's very prideful. Like, he's like, bitch, just say sorry. And she's like, no, like, and then
Yeah.
eventually said it. I'm not going to say it the way you want me to say it, Patrick. Like, I'm going to just say it. Like, you know what I mean? So clearly there's like a ego thing there, and I agree with Allie, but also, like, shut up, because
Yeah.
you jumping into, like, Casey's defense is just not gonna do you any favors. Allie was
Mhm.
hooting and hollering from the mountaintops all week that, RIP, mic drop, like, she's about to just drop some major tea at this reunion. Girl, you walked
Yeah.
out of there more unlikable than when you walked in. Like, I was like, "Okay."
Yeah. It was bad for her. They
Yeah,
must have cut a lot out because
yeah.
on social media, she's been saying she's dropping all the receipts, she's got a lot of tea coming out, and it was bad, like, she made herself look really bad by I think what did they ask? Something, and she said about his shoes, right? Like, that was her only
Yeah, like, they were
yeah.
like, "How did you know that he wasn't the one for
Right, right.
you?" And she said, she was like, "Oh, lightheartedly, like the flip-flops," but then you didn't follow it up with, like, a more serious answer. So
Uh-huh.
it's like, if
Which they
you
might have cut out, right?
yeah. Yeah,
That's
which is bad
uh
for her, but we'll get to them, because before we
mhm,
got to them, they went into the Casey and Joe of it all, which
mhm,
we already told you guys. Avery, broke that tea that, Casey and Joe went on some dates and it just fizzled
mhm,
out. And then we have Madison over there rolling her eyes, and she repeated this whole googly eyes story, which again I think would have been like a mic drop if you didn't say it in a previous interview. And she's really adamant that Casey and Joe meeting had something to do with their engagement ending, which is like,
mhm.
girl, why
Yeah,
can't, like, that engagement was ending way before that meetup. And I think Nick Lachey tried to like subtly point that out. Like we seen him have this freak out in this moment before he met up with Casey. So I don't
Yeah.
think it had anything to do with it. It did not have anything to do with Casey. Girl, he didn't like you. You got on his nerves. You were very argumentative. Y'all fought all the time. What don't you get? That's why he didn't go through with it, not because of Casey.
Hmm. Yeah, it was painful to watch her. Again, I don't think she came off likable, just like Allie. She's just trying to make something out of nothing, trying to make herself a victim where there isn't really a victim here. I hate that I like Joe so much. He was so funny in this
He
reunion.
was
I
funny.
know.
I think he redeemed himself. I thought it was gonna be bad for him. I thought it was gonna be bad for him. He actually came off more likable, but they
Right,
call
and I
us
hate saying that. I would
they
love to
call us
be on
Joe.
Madison's side, but I just can't watching them, and I'm like, I wouldn't want to marry her either, and I just don't blame him. And yes, he definitely was immature during filming and drank too much, but I think at the end of the day, he was trying to make it work and he couldn't, and that's all we really are asking of these people, like, give it a shot.
Mhm.
And yeah, I just thought it was silly that she kept trying to pin it on Casey, and obviously them dating after really does give some credibility to that, but it would only be credible if we saw Madison and Joe having this smooth sailing engagement and they were getting along and everything was great, and then he saw Casey and was like, "Never mind." So he ran away from his tux fitting. So it's
Yeah,
like it
yeah,
was already over.
and I think that she was trying to hone in the point that, it was because of Casey, and I think that but I think that Joe did a really good job at explaining, "No, it wasn't. It
Mhm.
happened after." And we stopped filming in April, and we didn't me and him didn't even go on a few dates till the end of May. I think that's more than enough time, to have a to get to know
Mhm.
somebody else. So what I found was interesting was the chat between Casey and Madison, where Casey's like, I can't believe that you're painting this picture right now that we had this crazy, like, I just came at you, said we're Eskimo sisters, and we had this like back and forth when really you left that conversation saying, I'm glad we had this conversation. It was an amicable conversation. I can't believe you're painting it this way right now. What did you
Yeah.
think of that? Because I thought Madison got caught being fake.
Totally, and that's what I think. She keeps trying. We've seen this the whole time. She's very smart at trying to take a little moment and make herself the victim out of it, just like the body comments, which yes was, I understand her feelings about that, but like Joe said, he said it once when they were talking about their exes. Like we've heard her exes were all older men, not like Joe at all, and his exes didn't look like Madison, and it was just a simple conversation between them about how, "Oh, wow, we're dating. We're not each other's type." That was the
Yeah.
conversation, and then it never got brought up again for the rest of the filming, and so she's now made it like this mic drop moment where he body shamed her and she became a shell of herself while filming, and it's just like,
And
it wasn't a
developed
topic.
an ED. Yeah. And
Mhm.
like you said, it wasn't a topic this entire time.
Yeah, and so I think she's
But has been a topic in every interview since the show has gone off.
yeah, and I do think she's right in saying, like, by Joe saying that, it has opened this door, to everyone talking about her body.
Mhm.
And I mean, we can't blame production for everything, but they didn't have to put that in there. They should know that that was going to open that conversation about her body and make it look a certain way, because it's not like he was calling her big. It was just the way he worded it. So ultimately, it's on Joe for saying it, but
Yeah.
I don't know. She just seems to be trying to find little moments that make herself the victim, like with
Yeah.
Casey, right? So
100%.
her and Joe broke up. He dated Casey after. Same thing with Megan and Jordan broke up. She went on dates with Mike. I think it happens in these situations. So
Mhm.
we saw
Yeah.
last season Sarah and Joey are a couple now. So I think if it
Yeah.
doesn't work out with your engagement buddy, you go to your next choice, right? So
Yeah, it's not crazy to say, "Oh, I dated one of my other pod connections, somebody that I learned a lot about, somebody that I know a lot about, somebody that I had a connection with." So, I don't think that that's crazy, and I think, yeah, Madison was victimizing herself, and, like, for Casey to be thoroughly confused and be like, I can't even believe," and we'll take everything Casey says with a grain of salt, but the fact that Madison didn't, like, she's telling you to your face, you left that conversation and you said you're glad we had it. And all Madison could say was, okay. That's how I know you lying. Because if that's not how that conversation went, you would have been like, what are you talking about? Like, I had smoke. We had an issue. But what it sounded like is you guys were two girly pops that dealt with the same dude and was kikiing over how douchey he was and what an asshole he is and how he treated you versus how he treated me. And you guys were having a moment and ended it pish posh squish squash. And then now it's like, oh, you told me we was Eskimo sisters. Oh, you were just in my face talking about my fiance, like as if that wasn't my fiance. And Casey's sitting there like, that's not the conversation we had. I thought we had a good chat about it. Like I thought shit was cool, so
I do
and
wonder.
yeah, go ahead because I'm
I
like,
do.
then Kate just threw her under the bus with Brendan. I'm like, oh damn.
I was just gonna say, I wonder about the timeline though, because Joe seemed a little stressed about the timeline because Avery told us they went on a couple of dates. Now Casey said it was a month and a half, which is a little longer than a couple dates. And then he said it to Kate, like, "Don't get me in trouble at home." Did you hear that part?
I did
Where
hear that.
he was like, there was no overlap. Like I was done with Casey at this pool party where he was with Avery, but it is a little close because I think the pool party was July. He dated Casey starting in May. So I think there was maybe some overlap, but Avery and Joe weren't a serious, like, exclusive couple till November. So I
Yeah.
don't think he's gonna be in trouble. I'll see.
And I think she told us that, right? Like she told
Mm.
us, like, I didn't want to date him. I wasn't looking to date him. He wasn't doing what I needed him to do in order to be in a serious relationship with him. So we were just kind of in and out, nothing serious, So I think I am very curious if this is the same pool party that Avery was telling us about, that where all of this drama went down between Casey and Joe. Apparently she had some really strong feelings for her.
Mhm.
She had some really strong feelings for him. I'm sorry, and he just wasn't, feeling it, and that was reflected in how he was treating Casey. So
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah, and then the Brendan of it all, like you said.
And that
Oh,
story didn't even
Casey.
make sense to me because it seemed like, okay, Kate said they went out on one date and then they went out on a group thing, and then Brendan was all over Casey, but Casey seemed to be very confused about the timeline because she was like, no, that was right after filming, and Patrick was there, and Patrick was like, no, I wasn't there. So I'm wondering if it was like a different time that they all went
Mhm.
out, that Casey was just like confused, but
Confused.
from the sounds of it, it sounded like Kate and Casey were friends because Kate said we had met at Casey's house. Like, you know what I mean? So it seemed to me like maybe they were talking about a different time. But
Mhm.
if Brendan was on Casey, like, that's not your man. Y'all went on one
No.
date, But I
I
guess if
think
that's your friend, if y'all are friends and y'all meet at each other's houses, like, I don't know, but I don't know. Did you believe that story? Did that seem like a lie on Kate's end? Because again, when Casey's saying that's not true, you're not really hearing Kate rebuttal. Like she's not saying
Mhm.
nothing back. Like she's not like, yeah. Like when Edmund was trying to say stuff wasn't true, you see how KB was like, this is what happened at this
Yeah.
date, at this time. This is, you know what I mean? Madison and Kate weren't getting up any rebuttal, which to me, I'm like, okay, so y'all are fucking lying,
Yeah. I think Casey's just that type of girl that wants to see if she can get a guy, you know what I mean? I think she's like, "Oh, Brennan wants to date Kate, well, I could have him too." And she
Yeah.
probably flirts with them, not with the intention to do anything with them. So in her mind, it's innocent, but
Yeah.
it's not to the person that's supposed to be your friend that's supposed to be dating the guy, right? So
Trying to date him.
that's that's what I think. I don't think Casey was ever interested in Brendan or like wanting to date him, but she probably was flirty with him in front of people. And Casey's probably like that with everybody. So she's like, what's the big deal?
Clearly.
Or that wasn't a
Yeah.
thing, but
Or she
it
doesn't
is.
remember it because even she didn't
Yeah.
remember the palms on the chest either with Joe.
Hmm.
Like Madison's like clearly so upset about it. And she's like laughing at Joe, like, did I not put my hands on your chest? Like, now's not the time to fucking laugh, Casey. Like, read the fucking room. Like, but at the end of the day, like, Casey just seems very male centered. Like
Yeah.
you said, like, probably like, I'm hot. Like, I can get whoever I want. Like, you know? And very male centered and just kind of shisty. Okay. Like Avery told
Yeah.
us she's shisty. She said she tried to hump on Joan knowing that they was together. Now you
Hmm.
Brendan, when Kate was your friend, Joe when he was engaged to Madison, like, bitch, it's not looking good for you. It's not looking good You wouldn't apologize to Patrick. Like, just yeah.
No, it kind of the vibes I got from the reunion is Casey and Allie are each other's only like friend, and I guess Megan has been put into that group too now, but because we
Yeah.
saw them make a Instagram together, so
Yeah.
not that doesn't mean they're friends, but I could definitely see that Allie and Casey will probably be on Perfect Match. That would be my guess. So,
Yeah. That's a good guess. They fit the bill for sure,
mhm,
and they're besties. So again, that doesn't really. That's I don't think that that's going to go over well for Miss Allie, but whatever.
no. Wait, was there no previous cast members at this reunion?
There weren't. They weren't. I think they heard us. They're like, we don't want that, you know. And
I
yeah,
kinda liked it though. I didn't mind it. Like, I think sometimes too much time got spent on it, but, like, when Marshall was in the audience, that was kind of funny with his
I mean,
reactions, like
having him there and not really focusing, I think having some of the married couple at this one would have been okay considering there were no weddings, like to remind people that the experiment does work. But like, don't talk to them, like you know what I mean. Don't ask them what they're up to. Like, don't spend any time on that. Maybe let them ask a question and like keep it focused on the season 9 cast. I think
yeah.
I do have a
It does
question for
I was
you.
gonna say, it does kinda take away their moment, like the current cast when you
Yeah.
have the yeah, so I get that. It makes sense that they don't do
Oh,
that
you're
now.
right. 100%. So from the Joe and Casey of it all, we kind of went into the Madison and Joe of it all about like, and I know we talked about why they ended, but they ask about if they met up again. Again, now this is another topic that came up in an interview that would have been a wow moment. What do you think of Joe saying that they got into an argument that night? And she's like, no, we didn't. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And he's like, she started an argument and she's like, "No, we didn't." And he's like, "All we did was fight and fuck."
Uh-huh. I mean, given their history and what we saw on screen, I think them fighting makes sense, and
Yeah.
so I don't know, I wouldn't know who to trust out of the 2 of them, to be honest.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know.
I think their version of what's a fight and what's a discussion are different. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And I can see that every time they have a conversation, it gets really combative and she gets very defensive and she gets very argumentative, but to her, she thinks we're just having a conversation. And to him, he's like,
Yeah. I think you're right. I think to her, that was just talking, and to him, it was a fight. So that's where they're like, both their versions of what happened is true to them, right? But
"Yeah.
so it
Yeah.
wasn't like a fight, but I'm sure I can't imagine them meeting up after all that went down would have been smooth sailing. I'm sure she had some shit to say. So
Yeah, and then I thought was interesting is when he said that at again, another fucking pool party. Remember? Another pool party. Goddamn, they have a lot of pool parties in Denver. But
I didn't
she was
know it
like,
was
"Oh,
that sunny in Denver.
right." Like she was like, we seen each other and we actually heard that at that pool party, she told Joe that, she wanted to try again off camera without the cameras around. And she thinks that it was just the experiment and the cameras of why they didn't work out and she actually wanted to give it another go. So again, this victim mentality of Joe treated you so poorly and you thought he didn't like you and you thought his feelings weren't genuine and you thought he wasn't attracted to you, you still even after the dinner, after the crying moment, I think proves that he did care. Number 1, he did have
Yes.
feelings, genuine feelings, or he wouldn't be crying about it. Um, that you wanted to give it a go. So, I don't know. You're really riding the wave,
Yeah.
girl.
I'm shocked because I mean, Joe very easily could have been a villain. He wasn't the best behaved. He did a lot of things wrong. I think if Madison had been more likable and not had all of these things herself, like she really could have, you know, he could have been a big villain and she could have been really like painted as a victim. But I think it's just really hard to fault Joe for the choices he made, and I feel like all of the things she got mad about were him falling asleep and all of these, yeah, small things. So
Yeah.
she just didn't come across as likable to me at this reunion. Like I thought she might have redeemed herself. Like maybe it was the cameras for her too, or the situation, but it was kind of the same Madison we saw throughout filming at this reunion. So
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I don't think she came off likable. I don't fault Joe for not wanting to continue with her at all. Like her saying that she needed clarity, I think he should have just said right then and there because we fought too much. I mean,
Yeah.
saying all we did was fight and fuck is kind of clear, right? Like we fought too much. Like, like
I mean, we'll see what happens with him and Avery. Like, obviously, Madison and Casey had a lot of negative things to say about their dating experience with Joe. Avery has said, I think they said the first 3 months was a mess. They both said that. And now it's good. But I'm saying I like Joe. He was enjoyable on the show, but I'm not saying I think he's a good partner or like good
same,
marriage material. So
same, same. And
we'll see what happens
I
there.
think that a lot what I will say is I think that a lot of the things that we've seen on camera, people attested that behavior to Joe with him not being attracted to Madison. And I think hearing Casey say that she had some of the same issues. We heard Avery say she had some of the same communication issues with Joe. He shuts down, he
Mhm.
can't form a sentence, he recluses, he does all of these things. It has nothing to do with physical appearance, and so I
Yeah.
hope if anything's clear, that's clear. It has nothing to do with physical appearance, that's just how he is and communicates as a person or lack thereof, how much he doesn't communicate, so I don't think the treatment of Madison had anything to do with her appearance, like, it just I
No.
think he was attracted to her, and I think they just weren't compatible, so, um
Switching gears, what did you think about Nick and Annie?
Girl, Nick makes it so hard not to like him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, even if he is full of shit, even if he is blowing smoke, he's doing it the right way. How do you
Uh,
get mad at somebody for taking accountability, apologizing, looking you in your eye, saying I was disassociated, I was jarring, disgusting, I don't deserve
mhm.
someone like you. Like, what do you do? What more do you want from a
Yeah.
person? Like he says it
Yeah.
all the right things, all the right ways.
He didn't make any excuses at all. He just said like I do think there is probably some truth to the fact that he was performing and he was there for an audience and not for a wife. So I do agree with that assessment of him, but I do think it's like 90% of this cast was there just for the
Yeah.
audience. So
Yeah.
it's hard to fault him more than others on the cast, and they didn't bring up the homophobic comments between him and Annie, right? Like we never got into that. No, which is tricky. It does sort of give some truth to what Annie and Nick said on the Vow Files, which is they were talking about something else and the editors fucked with them. But I think either way, they were still making some problematic statements, right? So,
Yeah.
but I'm just shocked they didn't give them that big platform to explain themselves. But if the producers and editors were the ones that did it, I guess they didn't want to talk about that on the reunion. But
Yeah, they're not gonna say that on the reunion, like, "Oh, production basically cut, chopped, and screwed what we were
yeah,
talking about." But I think even
right.
what they were talking about was still problematic, but
Mhm.
I think there was a lot of stuff that was left out. Annie seemed to like, Kate was kind of, like, coming at Nick pretty hard, like, she was like, "I appreciate your apology, but it still was
Mhm.
performative." And I think that
Yeah.
Annie had his back and was like, "No, it wasn't." Like he was genuine. He was so that I mean, that was nice to see. And they did ask Annie about her not not wanting to let it go. She said something weird of like I have this like hard like this weird trait of like knowing I can make something work and it's like, girl, this isn't like one of those situations that you can make work like you can't
Force.
force this like,
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that on the Vow Files too, she was, like, against Kate, like, she's obviously not a fan of Kate, and so
Yeah.
because they were kind of talking about this whole "I love you" thing, and, yeah, she was on Nick's side and not on Kate's side, and we saw that here at this reunion too. She was, like, defending Nick almost about it, which I think was big of her because she could have pulled, like, a Madison, right, and said, "Yeah, I can't believe he said I love you to someone else, like, what a dickhead," and tried to get people against him, but she was like, "No, I had Brendan, I had my own connection," like, she was just real about it, so not that I
Crazy
wanna give
that
Annie
Kate's
any props, but
other connection was Brendan too.
right?
Annie
Yeah.
hates that girl. She's like, "You got both my menses."
Yeah, she's not a Kate fan, that was clear. I'm
Yeah.
just starting to wonder, is she always drunk or does she just always look like she's drunk? Because she seemed to look drunk on this
I
reunion,
think she's
no?
always drunk. I think that's the answer. I think that's the answer is that she's always drunk. Yeah.
Yeah, she had the same, like, disheveled, drunk kind of look again, and I was like, "Oh, maybe that's just her," like like Shannon, on
Yeah.
OC that we're watching is kind of like
Yeah.
her shtick, maybe that's just or you think she's just drunk?
I think she's drunk. Yeah,
Okay.
I think she's just always drunk. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, I think she didn't like Kate, so she was pro Nick. I mean, Kate literally had to be the one to point out that Nick was saying the same things to the same girls and the same,
Mhm,
you could blame it on the experiment all you want, but like if you're repeating conversations and repeating feelings like every single person you have, it doesn't read genuine. Um,
mhm,
but again, Annie sucks so much that they just I mean, I think, like, we need to bring back the moments of, like, playing clips. I don't know where we lost that along the way. I think that
mhm,
there's something so entertaining about watching somebody watch themselves back, like, watch them
mhm,
act an ass. They should have played just like I think with Cole and Zeynep, they played her nagging back. They played
yeah,
all the time she nagged Cole, and I feel like it would have been good to play Annie looking a drunk mess, you know what I
yeah,
mean? At the fight in Baja, and then the fight in the bed, and then this fight where he's breaking up with her. Like, I think we need to bring back playing clips of moments,
mhm,
like important moments, and have them explain that moment. Like,
yeah. They did have a clip at the end after the credits, did you see that? It was
yes, which was trifling.
just
They were
the
trying to
shoes.
show Anton's toes and the sandals that she didn't like and want. But it's like if you're
Yeah.
that superficial to where toes are gonna give you the ick, then you probably shouldn't be on Love Is Blind.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking too. Like here we are roasting Joe for saying, "Oh, Madison's not my usual type," and Allie's over here like, "Oh, the shoes, like I couldn't do the shoes." So she's
Yeah.
just as yeah. Well, speaking of Anton and Allie, what did you think? I mean, I feel like they didn't really have much on them, right? Like we didn't get into anything.
The
I thought
fact
it was
that they never had a fucking conversation about this thing that you made such a
that's what I was
massive
gonna
fucking
say.
deal, that was the biggest takeaway from this. And Nick did a good job at trying to ask, like, "Well, if this bothered you so much, if it was such a big deal, how did you guys never have a conversation about it? Oh, there was so much
Mhm,
going on there. You needed a reason to get out of the shit. You didn't like the man the minute you saw his fucking toes, and
mhm.
you were looking for a way out ever since then. What that
Yeah.
girl said to you didn't affect you that much to you didn't even have a conversation about it. We heard you say you're going to be in trouble. You guys didn't even go home. You guys stayed at the bar and you didn't bring it up. So how pissed could you have been about it? You didn't give a damn about what that girl said.
No, remember I said this a couple episodes ago. I said she's with the whole tequila thing. She's like, "Where's the tequila? Or is there any tequila left?" And he's like, "No." And instead of like sitting down and having a conversation right there and saying, "This is not normal to me. I don't want to be with someone that drinks like this. Like, what is your plan going forward? Here's my boundaries." They didn't have a chat about it at all. It was just like she was so smart to let these things play out on camera and be like, "Yep, that's the reason the audience will be on my side. Yep, that's another one." And so with this strip club thing, she just put another tally, like they're gonna see that. Perfect. And like she didn't bother to bring it up to him because she didn't want to fix it. She didn't want to change anything. She just wanted reasons that people would understand her saying no. And that's all she did the whole time.
And what I don't understand is you didn't have a conversation about it. And he's like, I would have loved to address it. I don't go to strip clubs a lot. I've only met this girl 2 times. Like, so for her to be speaking on me is like kind of crazy. Melissa and his boy are not together anymore. They did make that clear. But we also heard you say on wedding day, yeah, like what she said to me didn't really affect me that much. But then after, it's like you made it seem like it changed your whole, like, Allie really got on my nerves this reunion because everything you said at the altar, everything that you said after the altar does not align with what you said today. First,
No.
it was the partying and drinking and his lifestyle being different. But you never had a conversation with him about that. Now, today, it was like he didn't talk to me when he came home. We didn't have deep conversations. For to say that he had a big personality on camera,
Where?
where? Where?
We
I'm
did
like,
not see that.
it. Like, we didn't see it. Talking about like now you're just
Yeah.
pulling stuff out of your ass because was it the
Yeah.
drinking or the lifestyle? No, because we already heard you tell your mom that you haven't seen that exhibited in your daily life.
Mhm.
So what was it? It was his fucking toes, bitch, and his money. Like that, just keep it a stack. Like now it's like, oh, it was the opposite. Like we had these deep conversations on camera, not off camera. We didn't hear you have a deep conversation on camera. So what are you talking about?
Mhm. Yeah, I wonder what they cut out. There has to be something for her to just embarrass herself in her TikToks and her
Yeah.
captions for the last couple weeks. There must have been something he did or said that they cut out. I don't know why. Like I don't know why they would defend him if they're gonna put her on Perfect Match. You would think they would want to make Anton look bad, but maybe
Yeah.
they've seen the public perception and that, people do seem to like Anton and maybe not like Allie, so maybe they just didn't want to mess with that. I don't know. Maybe I mean, Anton and Joe are the two are in long-term relationships. Like no one would have saw that coming from what we saw on screen, but they're both the only ones actually in a serious relationship. Well, and Megan too, I guess. So,
Yeah, and Allie pulled a Huda and was like, "I want to protect my relationship, or I want to protect what I'm in." Like,
when you know who else said that on their interviews and their reunions? Jess and Micah.
mm,
And where did they end up?
yes, on
Perfect
Perfect Match.
match.
Yeah, I mean, I
Uh-huh.
think Allie's definitely headed for Perfect Match. What did you think about? They did bring up Allie's friends and the ambitions and the money talk, and they said, "Did that have anything to do with it?" She answered no, and then she said that she stated that she wanted a provider.
Mhm.
So it's yes.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with wanting a man that provides,
There's
but I
nothing.
just don't think the show is the right show for you then, because I don't think they're gonna cast those provider men. That's not something you can at least bank on going into the show. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It is Love Is Blind, so maybe they think looks wise they can't have any like preconceived notions, but that money's an easy one. You know what Anton did for a living in the pots, so why pick him if you know that that's not someone that can provide for you or you don't think he can?
Yeah, and I don't get it because it's like in one breath, and again, she's so flip-floppy. In one breath, you're like, I made it clear that I want a provider that can like kind of provide for me when I go to nursing school. I'm not saying that I don't want to work or like I don't want to be. She was like, I
Mhm,
don't want to be a stay-at-home mom, but I want to be a present mom to my kids, which
mhm.
you wanna be a stay-at-home mom once you have
Yeah,
kids, like, you know what I mean? Like, girl, just say it. Just say, "Yeah, I think I wanted somebody that was a little bit more financially above me." Like, I think,
yeah,
like, people respect, like, honesty, right? And or sometimes, I don't know, the audience is so finicky because when Britney said it, people were so fucking mad at her, you know?
yeah.
But that's what you wanted, and just be real about it, you know? Like,
Mhm,
we do hear you say you wanted a provider type man once you went to school, but you made it seem like and he said, "I make enough to take care of the household, but we're not gonna be able to do all the extra stuff," and she wasn't with that, and it's like, that's a reason not to marry somebody. That's a reason to not marry somebody. If that's not the lifestyle that you want, it's you know what I mean? It's essentially why Megan did not work out with Jordan is he didn't have enough money for her.
mhm.
Okay, it's the same thing with you, Allie, but you talking about toes and shit.
Well, I think Megan's man needs to introduce Allie to some man. Like if Allie wants a provider and a man with money, don't go on Perfect Match. You're not finding that there. Go in
Yeah.
Megan's circles and you'll find somebody. So
Well, I don't think she's going on Perfect Match for love. I think she wants to build her influencer
yes.
career and ride that wave. Maybe she'll date Harry Jelsey.
Oh God.
He
He
seems
is
like
doing the dating show, right?
he
Oh
seems
my
like his
I
type.
I just thought of that. They're probably going to do you think they would do that, or are they gonna put random people on? Or do you think they'll put people from other Netflix shows? Because you know how he's doing this whole Who Wants to Marry Harry
Yeah,
show.
I don't know.
I
I
don't
don't know,
know.
but I could see Harry's probably in her DM right now. Like,
Yeah. I can see that too. Well, even though we got no marriages, it was an entertaining season. I enjoyed like covering it, talking about it at the tea. We had a baby in a positive way, not someone abandoning their babies. So that's cool. It was more
yes,
it was more entertaining than season 8, I thought. Right?
for
Better?
sure. For
Yeah.
sure, for sure. But KB and Edmund
Oh,
before
I
yes.
almost forgot.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, their part was way at the
That's
end.
how
It was
yeah.
really small. The only thing that
If she
stuck.
had notes, not receipts, I was like, "Damn, that's the one receipt I was looking forward to." Even though,
Yeah,
like, I didn't think she would have anything on Edmund, that would be weird, but
that was
it
the
was notes.
only. Yeah, it was notes because she's a bad memory. That was probably the only thing at the reunion that we didn't like have. Well, I think maybe it was like lackluster to us because we had some spoilers and we had kind of heard we already spilled like kind of their biggest bombshells,
Mhm,
the baby, the Casey and Joe of it all. Um, but I think I don't know, KB and Edmund's segment was really nice. I mean, very convenient
mhm.
that Edmund forgot a lot of stuff, but I think Vanessa made a good point that his trauma response to stuff because of his upbringing
Yes.
to negative things is just to forget it. Um, I don't think KB was making it up. She had too many details. I wrote down he was definitely being obnoxious and definitely got on his knees. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
that just seems like something he would do. And I think
Yes.
it was interesting that everything KB was actually complaining about, like when I'm trying to tell you how I feel, all you can do is just tell me how much you love me. And he did that in the reunion. Like she's actively trying to
Yeah.
say how he made her feel. And he's like, but I loved you. Like I chose you every day. Like, and it's like, that's not what we're talking about.
Mhm.
But I think that I appreciated her apology to him, and I appreciated her being like, "Don't let someone treat you like that. Don't let somebody talk to you the way that I spoke to you. Don't let somebody
Yeah.
treat you the way that I spoke. Like, don't you don't deserve that, you know?" And when he was like, "I would never get a woman like KB if it
Yeah.
wasn't for Love Is Blind," I just thought that
That's
was so
sad.
sweet.
Uh-huh. And
Yeah,
so true, I think, and not because of how he
so
looks,
true.
right? That's the funny thing about this is it's all about like not caring about looks, but the whole KB and Edmund wasn't really about looks. It was about I don't know his personality, which there's nothing wrong with his personality. I just don't think for a romantic relationship, I don't know what kind of partner would be good for him. But I just
I don't know.
theirs was so mother son. I feel like he might
Yeah.
need someone more, I don't know. What would you think
Energetic.
would
I
be
don't know if there's anybody out there that just finds Edmund so hot and just
Yeah.
thinks like, "I would date him, like, that's my type," like, I want that, need that, please slide into the comments because I can't understand it, but I think there is somebody out there that's like, give me that. Give me some of
Yeah.
that, you know? But I think, KB made a good point. She was like, "I think the audience is forgetting, like, I couldn't see a lot of his mannerisms in the pods."
Mhm.
We could see his body language. We could see he was doing something strange. We could see he was high kneeing and licking floors, and, like, we could see all of that.
Yeah.
You know, she couldn't. So I guess, yeah, behind a wall, that's very easy to hide, you know? But
Mhm.
it was very apparent even during your first meeting. Um, but yeah.
I wonder who called him obnoxious. Another cast member, you think?
That's what it seemed like she was alluding to, like, we were all moving into our apartments, we were all like, who else was there?
Yeah.
You know? Nobody stood up and was like, "It was me," but
I was thinking cast or production or something. I don't know if I would call him obnoxious, but
I would.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the exact word I would use, like, sometimes he can be he's being
Yeah.
obnoxious when he's being super loud. I think we've seen some of
Mhm.
that behavior at, like, the pool parties. He's, like, screaming for people to get in the pool.
Yeah.
He's, like, overly excited. That's obnoxious. It's like, relax, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was nice that they ended with them because it was on like a nice note. Like them, KB and Edmund, and then Jordan and Megan. It was all cute there. Everybody got along and made up and was happy. And the drama
Yeah.
in the middle was good too. So
Yeah. It was a shit show. It was a nice
yeah.
shit show. And happy birthday, Jordan. It ended with Jordan's birthday and Blake bringing out the cake, who, I mean, since he got so much airtime, they could have given us something. Damn. Did you and Anna meet up? Damn, they could have at least asked him that.
Right? This whole time I was like, how cool would it be if Blake was Megan's baby daddy before we knew it was Paul? But no, it wasn't Blake. So
You
we're still like, why is he what's going on? Maybe he's gonna start casting for them like Chelsea from season 4. I don't know.
I don't know what it is. It's got to be the perfect match. That's the only thing that makes sense.
Maybe, you know how they were talking about how he's such a nice guy and such a good guy, so maybe they felt like some of their cast isn't nice or good or, like, likable, which we're saying, and so they're like, "Well, Blake, we like Blake, people like him, bring him back, put him on wherever we can," but I don't
Yeah.
think we like him that much. He seems great, but we didn't see much of him, so
Why do you think Blake, Anna, and Mike weren't there? They had just as big a storylines, if not bigger, than Kate.
well, Blake was there. You mean
I mean, yeah. I mean, like,
just Mike and Anna?
but they didn't talk to Blake, you know?
No. Yeah, it was weird that he was there, but Anna seems to not want anything to do with it. She's posted like, "This is my last post about it." She did post like some photos today of a watch party they did and said like, "This is the last I'll have to get cyberbullied." So she's not happy with it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
So I don't know if they asked her, but I don't think she would have said yes. And then who else? Mike? I don't
yeah.
know. I'm surprised. I feel like he would have gone if they asked
He
him,
would
so
have
maybe
taken
just
his
because of all the
moment
drama.
for
Mhm.
sure. I think he would have for sure taken his moment, but they would have for sure had to ask him about his stuff because the tea was out by the time this reunion filmed. So,
Yeah. So maybe that's why they didn't bring him because they would know we would expect them to ask that, and they didn't wanna ask that, so they're like, "We'll just leave him." But, yeah, I wanna know more about his dates with Megan and what happened there, so
yeah, and his partner, like, who was around, like,
So what does your girlfriend think of you dating Megan? That's what we wanna know. Maybe we should have Mike's girlfriend on the pod. We'll do everybody's girlfriends.
I don't know everyone's girlfriends. I don't think she'll talk to us.
If you're dating a member of season 9, come forward and we'll interview you because that was fun. I was totally just random, like, "Oh, she's not on the cast. Maybe we should interview her, maybe we shouldn't." But now that we did, I'm like, "That was such a good idea. I wanna talk
It
to
was such a
everyone."
great idea. It was because we got so much tea. It went so viral. It got picked up by so many publications because she dropped it. And then she was such they were like literally saying her name on the reunion. We didn't even know that. You know, she didn't even tell
Mhm.
us that. Like, actually, I'm gonna come up at the reunion and it's gonna be a topic. We had no idea.
Yeah.
So,
I'm surprised she didn't go because, Megan's baby daddy was there, but do you
yeah,
think that
and
was weird?
so was what's her name's girlfriend? Anton.
Oh, yeah, Anton has the girlfriend of a year, so yeah. She said she didn't
Must
wanna
have
go,
chose
so
not to. Yeah, she must have chose not to. So
well, any other thoughts on season 9 I was gonna say before we put it to bed, but you know the next week, 2 weeks is not gonna be anything but Love is Blind because there's gonna be I don't even know what else they could spill, but there will be something, I'm sure.
there'll be something, so we'll just have to wait and see. I know a few of them have talked a lot and some of them haven't talked at all, so we'll see. We'll keep you guys upgraded, updated. We'll
We'll
gather
upgrade you too.
all the interviews for you and make sure you can catch it all in one place, so this is where things get spicy, so let's
Yes.
see what comes out.
Yeah, so we'll be back with more Love is Blind season 9 tea. All of our Bravo show recaps are out, and we're also covering Married at First Sight season 19. If you're into that show, it's our first time watching it. We're loving it so far. They have the conversations that none of these people on Love is Blind have. So I like that about that show. They actually say, like, hey, I don't like this, and this is what you should change. Because I guess they're already married, so we got nothing else to lose at that point. But
So,
we're
yeah.
enjoying it. And what else? Selling Sunset. And I think that's it for right now. We got a lot of shows out. So
Yeah.
we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening. Bye,
Bye,
guys.
guys.